And welcome back to the show. New York State civil and criminal trials will resume on March 22nd, despite many prosecutors and defense attorneys not yet still being eligible to be vaccinated. According to data from the Office of the Court Administration, lawsuits filed in the state dropped by 24% in 2020 compared to 2019. The COVID-19 pandemic has kept most civil lawsuits in New York from moving to trials where jurors could award monetary judgments. Now, although courthouse environments and cramped office spaces continue to pose a substantial risk for exposure to COVID-19 daily, the question is, what can people actually expect moving forward? Joining us now with more details is the founding partner of the Haicken Law, PLLC. We're pleased to be joined by Matthew Haicken, and thank you so much for joining us, Matthew.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Good to see you. And as first of all, I guess, give me a little bit about your initial take. As we say, it's good on one end that the courts are opening up. Things seem to get back to business for you in a more tangible way. But then I know there is that skepticism that a lot of lawmakers have simply because you've got this situation where no vaccinations yet. So what are your colleagues saying about this no vaccination series?
To me and to most of the people I've talked to about it, everybody is really happy about the courts reopening. We're really excited. I'm not a doctor, but it seems like it can be done safely. Some of the courtrooms are very large. I think those are the ones that are going to be used. People can sit, at least 10 feet away from each other. It's not like we're going to have all the jurors in that little box. Everybody's going to have masks on. And I think it can be done. And the statistic you mentioned, it's true that lawsuits that have been filed are down. I think that's mostly a result of just there have been less accidents because everybody's been at home. But I think the more interesting statistic is the amount of cases or the percentage of cases that have settled. It was in a Daily News article recently. I forget the numbers, but cases have not been settling at the rate they used to because there have been no trials. So the insurance companies and these big corporations, they don't really have a need to pay until there's a trial. So for me and for my clients, this is a godsend.
Yeah. And so when we look at this, we also have this whole situation of evictions, right? We understand that when the moratorium goes out, there's going to be a lot more people in court dealing with evictions and that backlog. We already knew there's a pre-existing backlog. Talk to me about what can we expect once these doors open up and how is that backlog going to play out?
As far as the backlog in personal injury cases, it's been rough on a lot of clients. People have had to take settlements that are really inadequate. But now that things are opening up, I think the insurance companies are gonna start. They don't want to go to trial. And the old saying is, the heat of the courthouse melts the gold, right? So the closer you get to trial, that's when the insurance companies start going, okay, maybe we don't want to let 6 random people from the community decide this. Maybe we should come to make a deal.
Right.
So,
what advice were you giving your clients? I mean, given the fact that you know that the courts have been closed, there have been virtual proceedings that have gone on, but now that you're going back to in-person, what advice have you given them about waiting and letting the in-person process play out?
So it's been tough on a lot of them. I've had to tell them, my advice is, hang in there, but that's easier for me than for a lot of my clients. And I've also, when the insurance companies have come back with settlements that are smaller than we were expecting, offers, I've had to tell my clients, look, I'm happy to wait it out. I have the money to wait. But because of this backlog and because, when we go back to trial, they're only going to be using the bigger courtrooms. It could be it's not like, okay, we're back on, your trial's next. It could be another still 2 or 3 years before, your case gets to trial. So I've had to tell my clients, I'll wait it out. I'll go to trial if you want, but maybe you should take this offer. And a lot of them have, and it's the insurance companies, they've really taken advantage of it. So it's unfortunate, but it's just what happened. And hopefully going forward, we can have Zoom jury trials, even when there's not a pandemic. And we don't know if this is the last one. So they're having them in other states. I know I mentioned this last time I was on here. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I think that's going to be the way to go in the future.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there'll be hybrids. I would imagine, looking at where we are and with the possibility of people being reinfected and new strands. I'm sure that we're totally not out of the woods.
Right.
Things for long-term consideration. Are you optimistic though, with the courts reopening that you get a lot of progress?
I would say cautiously optimistic. I mean, everybody was really excited when the courts opened in I believe it was October, and they had a few trials in October, November, and then everything got shut down. And I understand they had to shut them down for safety reasons. We don't want a trial to be a spreader event. So I'm afraid that could happen again. I mean, I'm of course just like everybody else. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to get my vaccine. I'm looking forward to it, to being able to go to court, but I could definitely see people letting their guard down and there being more a spike in COVID, which could lead to the courts being shut down again. And I think we really, as a our state, I know the judges are working hard trying to figure things out, but not just regular proceedings, but a full-on jury trial over Zoom where we bring laptops to people who can't afford them, and I think we're going to have to go that route.
Yeah. Take us inside from a lawyer's perspective. We understand what it's like for the client having to wait through this process. What's it been like for you throughout the course of this pandemic, leading up to this moment?
I mean, things have been slow. I mean, I was fortunate that I've had some great settlements over the past couple of years, and the first few months of the pandemic, insurance companies, they were settling cases. I was very surprised. I think nobody knew where things were going. Nobody knew how long it was going to last. So insurance companies did settle, and I did okay. But I mean, the good news is the court system became much more efficient overnight. It was really incredible. Things that lawyers have been pushing for years, and we were told, oh, that's impossible. We can't do this over the phone. We can't do this on teleconference. It just boom, everybody started doing it. Everything became paperless. So that was really nice. But I mean, I had a lot of free time. I mean, the first few months of the pandemic, I, my wife and I, we were terrified of living in the city, and we relocated to Rockland County for a few months, and I became a Meals on Wheels driver 3 days a week. Um,
Mm.
I just it really wasn't. I don't know if it was altruistic. I just had nothing else to do, so I figured I would do that. So and it's enabled me to I took a month off and knocked on doors in Philadelphia for Biden. Um, but it's just been I mean things have just been on the one hand they've been slow because there aren't that many accidents and there are no trials, and then it's also the pandemic has also made it technologically possible where you can be in 4 courthouses, so to speak, in one morning.
Well, Matthew, thank you so much for the work that you've done with Meals on Wheels, serving the elderly and those in a time of need, and going the extra mile. And we'll definitely have you back to talk a little bit more as the doors open and give us an inside look as to how things are going.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All righty, Matthew
Thank you.
Haicken. Now, for more information, you can visit him at his website, haickenlaw.com. And we want you to stay with us. We got more show coming up in a few.